Send the plagues, make them understand. We've been walking miles in these burning sands. They'll destroy you if they could, 'cause that's the plan. Let the words I speak be loud and clear. Let those with ears to hear me loud and clear. There is no love, no peace. Pharaoh, let 'em go, so they can serve me. Let 'em go, let 'em go. Let 'em go, so they can serve me. Let 'em go, Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Let 'em go, let 'em go, Pharaoh. Let 'em go, let 'em go.
Years when we marched and just died. Wars in the border, just straight genocide. Walk in the streets, they just kill you and I. Take it for granted, they continue their lies. So saints and I for an eye. Judgment soon come, can't run neither high. Crying for freedom, just take it or die. Babylon fall with all their lies. Freedom soon come, you really see nobody being born with you and me.
Let my people go, go. Let my people go, go. Let my people go. Here we go. Let 'em go. What? All the souls are back home. America was seized, so your son. That's why we're hysterical. Spent 400 years in the belly of a cannibal, swallowing souls, throwing dry bones to the animals under the table. System bloodthirsty dogs ran iron ankles, uninspiring outlaws, creating corruptions. When they whisper on walls, we go circle sending bash trumpets and watch it fall while y'all committing crimes to extermination. With genocide, dirty water radiation, prison poverty and serve and protect sanctions. We better get out of the way, the father's done with it. We better go. Don't you know what my son? When you touch them, you touch me. Say, I will call you by name. Let my people go.
Swing, 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 swing. Lost each other, get caught, taking home, 'cause I've been in exile from Babel to Rome, and it's been so long since I've seen my land. So come save your sheep with your mighty hand as the waters croaked in the dark of night. Mister, time has come to see the sun's light. While some fight for wealth, we fight for liberty. So to overcome the world, it's gonna take you and me to bring forth the kingdom, which is our ultimate goal. That's why we're telling Pharaoh to let our people go. Let our people go. Let our people go.
Swing
Go. Go. Let our people go. 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 Let our people go.
Hallelujah. You have just heard Let My People Go, featuring Mikhail Korbanyahu, Ach Nachamya, Akot Yaleach, and this track is by Nakia Bat Yahuda. We always want to open up with the invocation, with the prayer. So in the spirit of prayer, hallelujah. Yikadal vayikadesh shemei rabah, be'elmadi barak hirote, vayimelech malkute, b'chayechunu v'yamichunu v'chayeda kol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kari v'meru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach, le'olam ulmei amaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar, v'yi'oroman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalei, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha berechu. Le'ela min kol barakata v'ashirota, tush bechata v'nechmata, damiran ba'ama, v'meru. Amen. Magnified and sanctified may his great name be in the world he created by his will. May he establish his kingdom in your lifetime and in your days and in the lifetime of all the house of Israel, swiftly and soon, and let us say, Amen. May his great name be blessed forever and all time. Blessed and praised, esteemed and exalted, raised and honored, uplifted and lauded be the name of the Holy One. Blessed be he, beyond any blessing, song, praise, and consolation uttered in the world. And let us say, Amen. Yes, indeed. Welcome to Hebrew Vision Live. I'm your host, Mikhail Korbanyahu. We have a power-packed show today with Ambassador Andrew Williams Jr., and several other guests that we also will be entertaining this evening and engaging, shall I say, not entertaining. We are engaging. We are definitely here about the upliftment of consciousness. And so, Ambassador Andrew Williams, are you there? Ambassador Williams. Hello, is there anyone there on the call? I hear someone on the call. Is everyone here? Good afternoon, good evening. Well, let me get into this show. What we're going to be discussing today, we have a very, very organized this evening show, and we're going to be discussing some very powerful ideas. We're going to be going over some matters as relates to the diaspora, the African diaspora. We're going to be talking about the African Union. We're going to be talking about technology this evening. We're going to be discussing the United Nations. We're going to be discussing wealth building. We have several topics that we're going to be getting into this evening, and we have three hosts this evening, or three other guests, that are going to be on this show. Are any of my guests here able to hear me and to respond?
Well, I hear you.
All right, there you are. How you doing, Ambassador Williams?
I'm at least fantastic, and yourself?
All is well, all is well. I'm excited for this evening to have this dialogue with you and the others who are going to be joining us. But just let our listeners know who Ambassador Andrew Williams is so we can just get this rolling.
Well, actually, I am Googleable as Andrew Williams Jr. I'll be 59 years old on April 24th of 2017. And I was born in Macon, Georgia in 1958. And you may or may not know, but Macon, Georgia is that place that's the home of many people that are well known around the world. James Brown comes to my mind simply because when I was born, he began the first of 10 years straight of having number one hits. So James Brown grew up in my blood. So that's where everything began for me. But as Kwame Nkrumah says, I was not born in Africa. Africa was born in me.
Mm-hmm.
That was very true in my case because, again, even though I was born in 1958, I was conceived in 1957 when Ghana won its independence as the first African country to do so in this century. And it was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King who traveled there during that time to meet with the President Nkrumah. And also that influenced the later birth of what we now know as both the Organization of African Unity and the African American Organization of Unity, which led to, in the case of the OAU, the founding of the African Union in 2002, and which now represents all 55 countries on the continent of Africa. So that's the background of my cultural background. Of course, all of us here on the phone now, we have ancestors that trace their ancestries back to that place we now call Africa, but is in fact the home of all of us. So it's really important that before I do anything else, I give recognition and honor to the fact that we are in fact in a cusp that's very important to all of us on the line. Because here in the United States of America, it was in fact on August the 25th of 1619 that the first Africans from the place that we now call Angola, from the Kwanzaa River area, on 1A, actually were reported arriving in what is now the United States, but at that time was Virginia, and specifically Fort Comfort, which is near the Hamptons. And I have the privilege of knowing Mr. Calvin Pearson, who spent 25 of the last years making sure that the world understood that it was, in fact, that place and not Jamestown or anywhere else, that we do have a recordation of the first Africans arriving. I think that's important to all of us because it is a cusp. That's a 400-year cusp. But the 400-year countdown for me actually began last year in 2016. That's because 400 years from then, the first recorded people from the place we now call Africa arrived in Bermuda. And it is Bermuda, which is the closest landmass to what we all know as our Ma'afa, or that place of the Middle Passage where millions of us didn't make it, but whose spirit is still with us and who we still have to honor to heal the earth and therefore heal our future. So in a nutshell, that's a general background of who I am.
Okay, awesome. Very engaged, very involved. Situational awareness. What do we have going on with this particular matter here? What are we getting involved with tonight?
Well, the Kwanzaa Accord, which is the topic of the discussion, it's a social contract. I was very blessed to be able to meet someone from that place I spoke with you about from Bermuda in 2009. And in 2012, we crafted what we called the Kwanzaa Accord, which is a social contract among all those people who are of African descent and who claim that they are African descent and who believe or attest that they are, to align themselves with what was founded here in Los Angeles, California, in the place that's now known as Leimert Park. It was there just after the riots in the early 60s that a group of people formed themselves to create what they call universal traditions that were more aligned with the African traditions than with the European traditions. So as many of you know, as people around the world have joined, and focus on a 7-day period of time at the end of the year when you celebrate those principles that unify us as a peoples. Of course, that tradition has grown over the years. However, in this new construct, what we aligned and envisioned is us embracing those 7 concepts, not just once a year, but in fact 7 days per week for an entire year, and then for an entire series of 7 years, and then 7 cycles of those 7 years. What that does is it aligns us with the African Union Agenda 2063.
Right. Okay. And we'll
So
definitely.
it's from that perspective that it's important that we, those of us that have a consciousness, a true consciousness of who we are, then to provide our children with a demonstration that we are in touch with not just the limited geographical boundaries that surround us, but in fact the entire earth.
Right. So this is a Pan-African consciousness that is being organized more so along the grassroots level, as well as with the African Union and its geopolitical positioning as well. Correct?
Well, here's the thing. The African Union in 2012, for the first time ever, they actually recognized all those people that were born outside the continent of Africa as being part of what they call the 6th region, in that the first 5 regions, north, south, east, west, and central, are already regions recognized on the continent of Africa. But it was, in fact, put out that we ourselves have to self-organize in the diaspora to be able to represent ourselves as nation builders, to then engage with the continent of Africa itself. To that end, they created 5 legacy projects for the Africa diaspora that we were to be doing, and then to be able to engage with the African Union itself. Now, the African Union itself, they have 17 flagship projects for the continent. So technically, it is our responsibility to educate ourselves about the doors that have been opened to us and that are open to ourselves and our children's children, at the point where we achieve the consciousness, willpower, dedication, and intent to actually make that happen.
May I ask a question? Are you familiar any with the Ethiopian Federation and the high contracting agreement that is connected with the United States that Ethiopia established under Haile Selassie? And if so, is the Kwanzaa Accords akin to that, or is this in a different direction?
Well, in the first place, I have to claim my ignorance. I don't claim to know everything, and I do not know that.
Okay.
The Kwanzaa Accord itself, as I said, was commercial contract that was constructed between myself here in the United States and my thought partner and brother in Bermuda. This was something that's built up from the grassroots because their experiences on the country and on the island of Bermuda have been forged over a continuous period since the 16, I believe it was 1609, and that actually predates the now government of the British Empire. That includes, of course, Great Britain, Ireland, and Scotland. So this is the longest continuous governmental structure that's been in place. It is, in fact, an island of 60,000 residents, and the majority of those are of African descent. However, in 1981, there was dramatic change there, and because that's when the first onslaught, if you would, of what's called now international business arrived on the island of Bermuda. So up to that point, it was tourism that spread throughout the country that empowered people there to be able to maintain what is now known as the highest per capita income in the Western Hemisphere. However, in 1981, there was a dire change because at the time when Bermuda began its rise to now, it's the third largest reinsurance market on earth behind London and New York, even though it has such a very small population. Over 10,000 people are there, basically from the United States, Canada, and the UK, who are expatriates. They're not residents, but it's their economic power that actually affects the entire island and the people themselves.
Right.
So the short answer is that it's a grassroots movement, so it's not aligned with any other organization. It's built from the grassroots up. And again, I'm here in Los Angeles, California. I live on Death Alley. That's what they call it, right? Because where I live has the highest incidence of murders in the entire county. So what I'm forced to do is actually deal with the realities on the ground here in America. And as my brother is dealing with the reality on the ground on Bermuda, what we forged was a working document and a survival document for us to work from the ground up. So that's the best answer I can give you, sir.
Okay, that's wonderful. I think this is great because we need to be informed of this. This is addressing my ignorance, and so to know that this is aligned with the African Union as well. Are these one of the projects, the 5 diaspora projects that are being undertaken to align with the AU?
Well, that's correct. Well, actually, you are in fact involved with it, as is everyone on this line, because the intent is for us to have those legacy projects, and part of that means includes having by necessity a marketing and communications means and arm and engine, and that's what this can be, but only if you empower the people themselves that are on the line now to become what we consider to be citizen journalists and producers instead of consumers. But with that, I would like to segue and introduce to you Lady Alicia Hamilton. She's on the line with us, and
awesome.
she's the CEO of Universal Citizens Media Network. And her intent is to provide a platform that can reach out throughout the world using not just the computer, not just tablets, not just phones, all those things plus computers, but she does have some breaking news for us as well. She represents both UCIT.tv and TRN.tv. So with that, please allow me to introduce to you Lady Alicia Hamilton.
Wonderful.
Oh, good afternoon. Glad to be with you.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on board.
Alicia, you have to speak up. We're doing it.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah, just speak up. They're doing this through a speaker, so you have to elevate your voice a bit. Give us your ballroom voice.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Clearly, yes, ma'am. Thank you for being online with us this evening.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you this afternoon. And I hear, Andrew, you're talking about some breaking news.
We were both there at the fourth annual African Global Economic Development Summit that was held at USC, and we were there with Mary Flowers, and we were there when 100% of the visas for the people traveling there were denied. So yeah, we consider that to be breaking news because, as you know, that was you tell the audience why it's breaking news.
I see. Okay. Well, as you just stated, it was very unfortunate that every single person from Africa who intended to join us at USC, where the conference was held, were just denied their visas. They weren't allowed in. And this conference has been going on for 4 years now. This is the fourth annual event. And the Global Green Development Group, who is the sponsor, they do that along with the Black Alumni Association of the University of Southern California. They put on this Africa Global Economic Development Summit. And the conference has such great intention. Mary Flowers, who is the creator and event chair, has been trying to bridge, to create a bridge between Africa and America for doing business, for exchanging information, for education. And every year people travel from the continent, and actually from all over the world, but specifically with the focus being on Africa, people join from many countries, sometimes many 10, 15 countries come to this event. And it has been a beautiful event. I've been very fortunate to be the media coordinator for the presentation on the event. And this year, they just flat out were denied access. Now, in the past, they've had a few people who may have applied late or for some reason weren't allowed to have their visas approved. Mm-hmm. But in this case, we're talking about dignitaries, political representatives, government officials, just across the board, no matter who they were now allowed to attend. And of course, as Angela and I have been talking about, when you consider that this decade is the United Nations declared decade for the people of African descent, and 2017 being the year of sustainable tourism for development, the actions that took place here is just so contradictory, just really just contrary to the intention for the United Nations, the people who support the Sustainable Development Goals, that we are all global compact partners. So we're really disappointed in having so many people not able to come and participate in the event. And it's taken an interest around the world. There have been dozens of media organizations that picked up on this story and are sharing with their audiences how unjust this was for the people of Africa who thought to just really come here and learn, exchange information, and just do some good business.
Right.
So it's an ongoing story. It's not done yet.
Is there a identification of what agency actually made that determination of rejecting the visas?
Well, it so happens that it's the State Department that has that responsibility. However, it's also the State Department, all of whose institutionalized employees were fired 2 weeks ago, that is in a state of chaos. So the department responsible for doing all this was functionally incapable of doing it, or if not incapable, they intended not to do it. But in any event, it was not done.
Right.
Yeah, what they were done at the embassy where they were applying. So how that then connects to here and what communications took place between the two, that I couldn't tell you. But the call that Ms. Flowers received from her guests across the board was saying, my interview was a minute long. They didn't take any time. I was denied an interview, and it was just really, like you said, Andrew, quite messy. But to say who has the ultimate responsibility of just declining all of these people, I know I personally cannot say for sure, and I wouldn't want to put out misinformation. I can tell you the data, what took place.
Correct.
They went for an interview, they were declined. But for every single person to be declined, it just seems,
Do you think that this is indicative of perhaps the Trump administration's relationship that they will seemingly not want to cultivate with Africa? Is this something that you're seeing maybe that is indicative of that?
Well, if I may, Alicia, I think the purpose of this call is to not only identify what actually happened, but to also identify solutions. And that's why I'm so glad Alicia's here, because Alicia, you can explain how, through technology, we're able to address this through using media. So please do so.
That's a great
That's
point.
a loaded question, Andrew. Okay. Well, I will say in response though about the Trump administration, we know that the climate has changed. In fact, I was talking to a colleague this morning who said that there was an announcement by the president of Nigeria that he was advising his people not to travel to the United States.
Correct.
So we see that there is definitely a change in the climate with and people who we have in the past had a much better relationship with. And unfortunately, I mean, this is just my opinion, when it comes to Africa, there have been some great strides forward with education and technology and relationship building and bridge building as with the African Global Economic Development Summit. So to now be in a climate where people are unsure about their being welcomed, and if they are, taking the time and expense, because remember, these people have purchased tickets and all kind of expenses have been incurred with them trying to make these trips and going abroad, and then to be turned around at the airport in some instances. We just know that there's not a good feeling between anybody going through something like that. And then, we've seen the bigger problem with the travel ban and how families have been separated and all kind of injustices and numbers not being the same depending on who you talk to. So I personally think that, yes, it has something to do with the climate. Now, after, like I said, the first 3 years, and for a few people, that's to be expected. But when you say,
right,
every single person
right,
being denied, that indicates a much bigger problem. And it undermines trade opportunities. And you can't help but look at it as some kind of discrimination against doing business with Africa. Now, whether you can prove it, that's another story. But
Indeed.
at the same time, you look at the climate, something is absolutely not good and,
right.
and wrong even with this situation.
Indeed.
So as far as technology doing something about it, I'm hoping that through communication and just being brought to light in the sharing of the information, right now the story is being covered globally from every continent is picked up on this story. We're about actually as well to release a story on Universal Citizens about it as well. And so I think that because the world has become so much smaller through media and technology, where people are telling their story and becoming journalists, citizen journalists, on their cell phones. I mean, there are things that people could conceal in the past that you just can't get away with as much now because everyone is a journalist, really, and has a responsibility to do so. They see something, say something, doesn't just work for terrorism, it works for just making sure the truth is told and justice is brought to light.
Mm-hmm.
So from that regard, if we're able to share our information and get it across the world through technology, it makes the time information, the time it takes to get information to people much shorter, and therefore the response time is shorter, and then something can be done. Because I'm hoping now, with the attention that's been brought to this situation, that some changes will be made. Because now it's not in the dark, it's in the light, and you can't deny what people are sharing and saying and sharing videos, sharing pictures, and really being the voice of America.
Right. So you're talking about journalism right now, and I understand that, again, Andrew mentioned that you are the founder and the CEO of the Universal Citizens Media Network. Can you share a little information about that, if you don't mind?
Surely, thank you. Well, we have been utilizing media and technology as a means of building community, sharing information, empowering people. We've always gravitated towards informational, educational, motivational content. And I saw a while ago that it was going to really do what we see today. People are going to be telling their own stories, and they're empowered through technology to be able to do that. So you don't have to be subject to programming, quote unquote, but you actually can look at revealing information and sharing stories from your perspective. I think the best person to tell our story for the diaspora is is us, is the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping that the Universal Citizens Media Network will be that platform where we can get information in real time, the truth about things, how it affects our community, how it affects our children, looking at resources that to some may not be as important but are critically important for our tribe, for our community. And so the platform is enabling us to reach around the world through technology, enabling us to share video and audio information. And so we put out content, and then there's an opportunity for people to own their own channel and manage that content, similar to a YouTube, but we're a little more, I would say, socially conscious. We're very conscious of the content going out, staying away from, hate language and things that are, some things need to be disruptive, but to a point of not being destructive.
Right.
Being disruptive but not being destructive. So we're trying to keep that brand associated with truth and things that are socially conscious and empowering.
Mm-hmm.
So we are a private network. You do, subscribe, and people that have content on our network will submit for that to be included in our community, which up until now we've been very fortunate. Our contributors are all socially conscious, just those evolved people, and they want to do the same thing. They want to share their content and, of course, monetize it as well in the process, but it's all about empowerment and community and capacity building.
Okay.
And so, like I said, we put out content, we make it available for others to have a story, and we're about to release our 24/7 scheduled broadcast that will be supported by our VOD, or Video On Demand network. So we have TRN.TV, which is faith-based and inspirational programming, and then UCIT.TV, which is our family and millennial media, and all of that is supporting the UCmedia.net, and we'll be releasing our 24/7 scheduled broadcast and in just a few weeks, coming up pretty quick. So time slots are available, and we'll be able to monetize the content with sponsorship and advertising insertions.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations on the launch of that and spearheading that effort, and pray much success to you with that matter there. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Indeed. Brother Williams, Ambassador
Thank you,
Williams.
and I welcome you to...
Oh, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I welcome you, to come visit us when all that's moving forward. I've been listening to your show today. It's been really enlightening. I've enjoyed being a guest as well, and want to make that reciprocal.
Well, definitely. Thank you. I will definitely take you up on that in the near future. And we'll look to build some more in other ways. Just do a lot of, intersections of our journalism efforts, hopefully, and just, get this word out to our people. So definitely, I look forward to that. Thank you again. Ambassador Williams, you still with us, sir? Ambassador Williams.
I was on mute talking to myself, so that didn't help much.
Indeed.
But I'm back with you now. We had a couple of callers to call in. Perhaps you could
entertain
poll
those
the callers, because I am expecting 2 speakers to call in.
I have
if it would be convenient, perhaps we could see if
indeed.
either of them is here.
I have a Yona L on the line, and then there's a 314 number. 314, go ahead. I see you talking.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Well, we're wonderful, Veronica. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, I've been on since the beginning. The music was wonderful for the lead-in, and into Alicia, you're both fantastic, and that's quite a common place and space when engaging with the both of you. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, good to hear your voice, Veronica.
Welcome to Hebrew Vision, Miss Veronica.
Yes, ma'am. I'm still down for UC. Yes, ma'am. I still consider your mission and vision relevant and very much needed. And like the Chinese character for the word China, which means opportunity and also crisis, times such as these, with all the challenges that are resulting, for example, the summit, which I did attend virtually, thanks to Andrew's Universal Citizen Journalist tool, live streaming on Facebook, I was able to hear that announcement as the organizer made that statement. It blew my mind. I mean, that was just completely almost surreal. And I think there's definitely fingerprints and a faint smell of something awry. But anyway, I'm glad to be here. Thank you. I'm listening.
Indeed. Thank you for joining us. Can you just let us know let our listeners know who you are and what your involvement is with the Kwanzaa Accords and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, so on and so forth, please?
Well, I've had the honor of playing a supporting role in strategy and planning with Andrew Williams Jr. and Lady Alicia Hamilton for a time on the daily, and I mean literally daily, we were having conferences in the AM. Then, as time goes on, different priorities, there's been a scatter, but there's always a coming back again. You know, that's how life can be. So through working and supporting, engaging, collaboration, and just availing to certain resources or allowing them to tap my human resources to shore up and give momentum to what they're trying to do, it's been an honor. And I had the luxury, really, of having the Kwanzaa Accord shared with me and its significance. And this whole project is very comprehensive, and truly any contribution that any of us can make on any level will truly add to the whole, and I think enable us to saturate the Pan-African community. So through organizing conference calls, presentations, etc., and just connecting and supporting through social media various bits of information and resources and tools for people to take advantage of, that's how I've played a role. It's been a supporting role, mostly in the back end, but I am a universal citizen journalist as well. And so where I am here locally in St. Louis, Missouri, I still stay connected so that I can do what I can here, and then wherever I might end up eventually, you know, it'll still be like landing at home, and the work will seamlessly continue because throughout our network, you know, with persons all over the United States, you know, there's definitely someone to connect with to then sort of come together and then carry on where we are. So the Kwanzaa Accord, the Legacy Project, Universal Citizen, being a voice for those who have no voice, who have been marginalized, tread upon, and then to resist and give an opposing opinion which stands in truth to what is disseminated in mainstream media so that people can, for themselves, make a decision. I mean, if you are shown the truth and shown the significance of who you truly are and the truth behind what's going on and the outcomes that are the reality as opposed to what you're being told, you're being empowered. But if you choose to turn away for whatever reason, then you cannot say that, you know, Andrew and Alicia and yourself, you can't say you've not done your work. You have, but each one of us makes a decision. So I'll just let that serve, if that's okay with you, as my contribution as to how I've been engaged with two stellar personalities, two stellar people, real people, and their passion and mission to make a difference and have something that they will leave behind, children and families, but to their community locally and globally. And so it touched me when both of them stated how that upon reaching a certain age, looking back at all of their skill sets, all of their talents and their passions, how there was a sea change in how they ultimately decided to use the rest of their days and be used up making a difference where it really matters. Thank you.
Powerful. Thank you, Sister Veronica. And we're state mates, y'all. I'm in Missouri as well. I'm in Kansas City, so we'll definitely have to see how we can, cross lines sometime and organize our people some more.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You're low hanging fruit. So I was speaking to one of the guest speakers for this evening's broadcast, and that's Joanna Farmer. And so, like I told her, we're going to be connecting, and not virtually or over the phone or through Facebook. It's going to be face to face, so I can see what's going on around there, because there's a lot of things happening in Kansas City too.
Yes,
and
indeed.
I just think this energy is very exciting. It just
Great.
speaks to kindred spirits and the energy attracting and connecting and empowering us all, so that collaboratively, quantifiably, there's even more force, not to the negative, but more force and power, to affect change. But so, brother, I look forward to connecting with you as well. We can do that offline, off the radar. But
Indeed.
I look forward to it. Thank
Indeed.
you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you as well. Thank you as well. Ambassador Williams, we got others on the line. I'm seeing founder Yona L with the Global Black Family. Are you there, brother?
Yes, I am here, and I am blacktastic.
All right, now.
Good evening, Andrew. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Veronica? How's everybody this evening?
Hey there, Yana. Good. Good to hear your voice. Blessings.
Yeah, I've just been patiently listening to everything that's going on here, listening to the conversation, just waiting till I get ready to chime in, so I don't want to take anybody's thunder, so that you guys go ahead and crank it up. But I'm here, anytime that
Indeed.
that I can feel a way to get in this conversation, I'll certainly jump in. For the time being, I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
go ahead. What was the answer?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We have Danilo Ignacio. He was actually scheduled to be here now. He had a power outage in his building. He's texting me now. So let's see if I can bring him in for a three-way. Hold on just a moment.
Okay, it's clear now.
It's clear, you said? You're listening live to Hebrew Vision Live. We have a dynamic show this evening, and several personalities are going to be sharing some of what is going on with them and their communities, and how we're connecting this with the Kwanzaa Accords 2020 and the Sankofa Renaissance of 2063 of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, as this all relates to some projects, some legacy projects with the African Union. And so we're having a very dynamic conversation this evening. And I do believe that our guest is back on here. Is Brother Danilo now available with us? Ambassador Williams, do we have...
I believe I was able to bring Danilo in. Danilo, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing?
Wonderful.
I'm at least. Fantastic, sir. And yourself?
Doing well. Good.
Excellent, excellent. I explained to the audience that you had a power outage, but I brought you in, so you're right hot in the middle. So it's time to introduce yourself, and let's do it.
All right. Well, my name is Danilo Ignacio, and I started a company called the Media Analyst Group simply because the fact that we as people, we do not have a pen to give our information out, and with all these new entrepreneurs that are now coming up in the year of our partner, I'll say I'll keep his name unmentionable. We have to start doing things ourselves. So what we've done is create television, digital television, and digital radio. Because the thing is, digital gets across the world while it's still affecting local markets. So essentially, that's what we're here to do. And we also want to let people know it's time for us to grab a hold of technology. There's no way I would have been able to do what I'm doing today if I had to go through their system. Through their classes, schools that they told me to. And I'm not saying that people should get educated. But the steps that it takes to go through there to start your own is much more diverse than what the internet now brings to the game of technology and being an entrepreneur. And that's part of what we want to expose to you guys. We want to get into conversations with people because the platform that we're building is very similar to what you already know, but it's independent. I to bring new people on so their businesses can get the same type of exposure that the McDonald's and the Walmart and all these major corporations. The reason why we are unable to get there because we don't have the avenue, the strong avenue to get out of the world. So that's what we want to see here. That's what we want to talk about.
Okay.
Right, Mr. Andrew?
That's what we are, in fact, talking about. With that, let me segue, if I may. You had asked me earlier about those legacy projects. I'll take the time now to perhaps give us an introduction of what they are. The African Union Diaspora Legacy Projects includes number one, an African Diaspora Skills Database. Number two, an Africa Diaspora Development Market for African Development. Number three, an African Institute for Remittances. Number four, the African Diaspora Investment Fund. And number five, the Africa Diaspora Volunteer Corps. However, I would like to also indicate, or at least describe, that there are, in fact, flagship projects for the continent itself, many of which have been
You're getting kind of muffled, Ambassador.
Pardon?
Your voice was just muffled. Can you repeat that, what you said, please?
Yes, I'll repeat that. There are also legacy flagship projects for the continent of Africa itself. The most recently, the one that occurred most recently was that last year there was a continent-wide passport that was issued.
Right.
So that it's possible, or it will be possible, to travel from one part or one end of Africa to the other. They're going to roll it in over a period of time. I believe the president of Rwanda was one of the first people to receive his passport. But the idea is to empower the people of Africa to have the ability to travel from one end of the continent to the other end with a minimum of regulations so that they're able to control their own destiny.
That is powerful.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I mean, and that's the bridge. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying that's a powerful movement that's taking place. You know, with the one passport for the continent of Africa. That's crucial and just really, you know, unifying the continent. But go ahead, Brother Danilo.
What I was saying was the things that you just mentioned are very essential. That's one of the biggest links for Black people in this country to start an avenue with our motherland so we can have our personal embargo going back and forth without any middlemen. Mm-hmm. There are many things that we need to have over there. There's many things that they need to bring over here. And if we do it by any other hands but our own, we never fare either. So I applaud the fact in a place that we can get together and bridge our gaps. Not only unite us as Black people for monetary gain, that continues to make us powerful. One of the weirdest things that I've always heard with our people here in America is money ain't everything. Tell me the last time that you were able to pay your bills over a conversation. And then I might change my frame of mind. And money is power. So money, power, respect. When we bridge the gap between multi-faceted entities of Black people that bridge the gap in the middle, we are unstoppable. Mm-hmm. For ourselves, not only monetarily, but unilaterally.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think
thank you for that powerful statement, sir.
Indeed, and I think that our African consciousness also keeps it all in perspective. In addition, as a resource, it is power, yes, but it is a resource of power.
Some people have to coach to the game, and I thought.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Ambassador, did you want Brother Danilo to also talk about the shift of consciousness from consumer to producer and monetizing media? Is that something that you wanted him to speak on, or was there some other matters you wanted to proceed to?
Yes, he's that one, and I'm afraid Danilo did not get the memo. But yes, Danilo, please speak on monetizing media and ways that we can now change our listening audience from being consumers to producers through working with organizations like yours that can help package them so that they can then enter the mainstream broadcast medium through the professional levels that are expected and required to take it to the next step.
Totally. What I will start off by saying is I like to use analogies. One of the analogies that I've learned over my years of being in the entertainment business and traveling around the world, when I went to New York, or I went to Atlanta, or I went to North Carolina, South Carolina, there was a common denominator that I never even understood, because here in America we grew up with television set. Yes, it's matured over time, but it's always been TV. The thing about it that made it all relative was I would meet people in New York, go to California, and meet somebody that spoke the same way, acted the same way, mental capacity. Understanding that, I had to say, well, what is the common denominator? My homie in New York does not know this person in LA, but yet still they are so symbiotic in the way they think. The television. The television is one of our strongest beings that we as Black people have to get involved in and own for ourselves. And it going digital gives us a place that now we can monetize. Because now we have an avenue. If you're an entrepreneur, there's no way you've got almost $250,000 just to produce a commercial and then see what station might think about picking it up. We can get that done for way less than half of that and give you better quality. And now you're on something that vibrates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I was just talking to a potential client, and he has something to be selling on his website. He said, man, I just got my first sale. And they said the research that's been shown online says that it's going to take people to come to your website before you get one person to buy. So if you want to live off the money that you're making in your business, and I think we all do, we don't want it to be just an expensive hobby to us, then you have to have a floodgate of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people coming to see you, not only Eastern Time Standard, but Pacific and international. And that's what we've been missing. And because of the technology and what we've looked at is we're not changing the mainframe of what television does. Television gives you a program. Within the program, you have a set of commercials that will place in that program. This is the same thing that we're offering you. But the only two things that are different is that the information that we'll be giving out is of conscious nature. So you're not getting scatterbrained information so you can be hit with a commercial and all of a sudden you feel a floodgate of some kind of feeling you want, whatever it is. What we're doing is taking our people and producing quality commercials, the same thing that you see on television. And now we're bringing it to a digital market because we can watch TV and interact online. That one step alone will take care of so much of our transfer of monetary gains. Because now instead of looking at McDonald's, you might not even know you're right around the corner from one of the independent restaurants that we must support that is owned and operated by Black people. The same thing with the radio. It becomes unaffordable. Hot 97 or any of these radio stations, you can call them after we finish. Ask them how much it is. An independent person still is working a job, trying to get the business off the ground. Family, kids. There is no way that they'll be able to come up with $450 per month in order to get it on. Because, advertising is something that you can't do it in one shot. I'll use all of us as a recourse. Well, how many times have you not sat in front of the television and saw something that was a pretty good product? And you go, wow, that was good. You don't try to remember what it is. Wait for it to come on again. And it's not until about the 6th or 7th time when you're tapping your feet to the beat is when you realize, let me see, where can I go to get this product? So understanding that that's the way advertising goes, you got to be in the system constantly. When I say McDonald's to anyone that is listening, Archie. When I say Walmart, you see that W. This country has put us in a place that they want to keep us as consumers. Because if they ever open that floodgate and we can break that glass ceiling, now they have major competition from their own. If you notice, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they don't fight anymore because they, as the glass ceiling, pull everybody down. If anybody ever remember, there was a soda that was coming up called Fanta, and it was doing pretty well. You can only get so far in this country before you're going to hit that ceiling because the big boys is not going to let you pass. So when it comes to distribution, as good as Fanta was, they only had two options. Stay on the secondary level and never become primary, or sell to us. Because you'll never get on our broadcasting. You'll never be able to fulfill the advertising goals that you would need to actually be a competition for us. This is what America has installed in that system called the American Broadcasting System. In layman's terms, that television that you continue to pay for, that gives you nothing back. So what we have done is looked at the technology online and tweaked it. And, sometimes we inspiring entrepreneurs want to change things. There's certain things that you shouldn't change. And television, it doesn't need to change. What needs it to be done is open up to a bigger market, to a real independent market, to a real place that real Americans of any color can come to and be able to promote and advertise. I guarantee you that will change America for the best. Because that is what we're living under right now. No matter what product I name to you, it was introduced to you on that television system. Those eyes went out. Not only do we make ourselves money, but we become powerful because now we can speak to power. Mm-hmm. We can tell them when they're lying on television that you have lied to us and we will bear the truth. Just recently, we just found out that, of course, we knew this, but we couldn't explain it because they won't let us on their system, that they lied about Ferguson, that they lied about Mike Brown. And it took an independent film producer to go out there and spend a couple months and years out there to get the truth and to get the footage that the police or the American Broadcasting Company could have gotten within one phone call. So it shows you that they're not using this system to empower us. They're using it to hold us captive for their best interest, which is keeping us consumers. I cannot believe that McDonald's cannot have any other competition except for its own Wendy's. And now they decided to invite Chipotle. It's up to them to say what they're going to give us. That is unfair in a country that they claim to be free. So we're going to seek our freedom on the information highway and change how people see us, hear us, but still give it to them in the same fashion that they've always received it.
Very clear, very clear. Thank you for
Thank
that,
you
Brother
so very
Danilo.
much, brother. That was very powerful.
Yes, indeed.
And the same thing with radio.
However, it's 5:04 now, and I think Sir Bailey might have joined us. He has a limited time. Sir Bailey, are you with us?
I am. How are you doing, Mr. Williams?
I'm more fantastic this second than I've ever been before in life, brother. Thank you so much for asking.
Inshallah.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Hebrew Vision, Brother Sir Bailey.
Hey, peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings, family. It sounds good. Sounds good to hear the knowledge going out, and specifically with such passion. Bless you.
Look, it's your time, Sir Bailey. I know you have a limited time, and then we have Joanna Farmer, who's coming right after you at 5:15 or 5:20. So if you could speak up a little bit, introduce yourself and Art Life Live, and please share your knowledge with the people.
Man, bless. Thank you guys so much for having me. My name is Sir Bailey, and Art Life Live is a program that's about to come out. It's been working in schools and independently with emancipated foster care youth and some of the recently released incarcerated youth to teach film and entertainment skills as well as education skills through the lens of of art. We are meeting incredible people like the people on this line and asking what art inspires you to do the work that you do. And lesson plans are being created. And like the gentleman that was on right before me, it's about new avenues, creating the new avenues, being in the classroom with young people today, athletes. I was able to share with them having a wider vision, considering Amari Stoudemire and playing in Israel and sharing that he's going home and what it means to be Hebrew Israelite Christian. With the surge of hip hop, with the popularity of hip hop, and the way hip hop came into American culture, we have so much potential with the major broadcast, but also still on the street, still one-on-one, face-to-face, because even the big boys still want, public people to say what was good about them. And as we do that for each other, which is what I hear on this line, which is what I know Mr. Williams is doing, and what I'm hoping to do with Art Life Live. Manformation Project is definitely doing it. The future looks bright through all these challenges. Forget the poet right now, it slips my mind, but the line that comes to my mind is that we're blooming amidst the whips and the noise of the whirlwinds. We're blooming, and that's what we got to do.
Very clear. Thank you for sharing that, brother, Sir Bailey.
And what you're saying,
Traffic control.
Danilo, you were...
Are you with us?
Wonderful, yeah, we have wonderful new artists to look out for. I know Willow Smith just dropped a new project that's about the light, about energy. The stuff is out there, is what I'm saying. My son, Yaya, you can find him at stronggraveyaya.com. I mean, when I was making music, late 80s, early 90s, we didn't get a lot of light, a lot of shine, other than doing shows from Leimert Park and, through downtown Los Angeles up to San Francisco. But the message I feel I see in the world is clear, still in the music. I recall to people all the time, one time before Tower Records closed, if anybody remembers Tower Records, an advertisement that said, if you want the real hip hop, we got Onyx. Onyx has just come out. And if you want the alternative thing, then we also have Arrested Development.
Options. There were options,
know
right?
The culture, we who know the people, knew who was really representing who they really were. Never in a sense of like judging Onyx or this or that, because I don't judge, my forefathers that had to do blackface. We still have to, in some cases, do that and break some of those glass ceilings. You know what I mean? Can continue with let's continue with our heart of manifold mercies, reaching out to teach one, and pull everyone up. We are the race. We are the people that know that there's one God, one people, one destiny. So we can't get caught up. As much as we know we have to save ours, we have to save ourselves. Oh, excuse my language. We don't. We are saved. Yeshua HaMashiach. We know this. We know salvation. So the light that we need to shine has to continue in the spirit of a Dr. King, and saying, you know, love thy enemy with
Right.
education, with knowledge. Malcolm X said you can't legislate goodwill. You can't pass laws to make people be nice to you. But that can come through education.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
And
with that, Sir Bailey, I do want to ask you too. I connected you with my friend and thought partner and someone known quite well to Alicia as well, Corn Smith in Bermuda, because this is a very important week in a lot of respects. This past March 21st was, of course, World Poetry Day, which was important, but also it was the day's focus on ending racism worldwide. And so this Saturday, on the very same day that you have your event, Sir Bailey, it's actually a day to reconcile those victims of the African slave trade. So in New York, did you glean any information from speaking with or communicating with Corn Smith in Bermuda that applies to what we're talking about now?
Amazingly so. Amazingly so. The surge of people really looking into the nature and the compatibility with science in ourselves, with the stars in ourselves, with Bermuda, the vortex, right? And music and bringing that out, the vibrations. Yeah, certainly took so much from it, and look forward to diving deeper into that, you know, with students in the upcoming months, so that we can bring it out, no doubt.
that's powerful. And Sir Bailey, you're the son
Yes,
of
sir. Yes, sir. Well, we're at 5:12. We got about 3 minutes. I don't think Joanna Farmer's with us yet. So,
she's actually tuning
in.
in.
I'll turn the station break over to you. Can you give us a station break? Let people know where they're listening to.
Yes, indeed. You're here live.
Tony?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The End Time Scribe. Michael McGill.
Yes, sir. I'm here. All right. So you're here live listening to Hebrew Vision Live. We're discussing the Kwanzaa Accords 2020, Sankofa Renaissance 2063. We have a slew of personalities here on the line with us live this evening. So hope you all are enjoying this as much as I am. I want to thank each and every one of our participants so far for your contribution. And we'll go ahead and get back to this show. I do believe Miss Farmer's coming up next. Sister Farmer, are you available, Joanne? Are you online with us now? She is not online with us now.
I didn't hear the last of what you said, brother.
I was saying Sister Farmer's supposed to be online with us now, but she is not presently online with us.
Okay, yeah, it's 5:13. She said she'd be here about 5:15.
Right.
But perhaps in the interim, perhaps Yona, you might like to take the time to at least introduce yourself. We'll hear Joanna if she pings in. So, Jonah, if you are ready now, please tell us about the Global Black Family.
All righty then. You ready to get me started here? Okay. Well, you know, I would like to... Are you okay? So listen, I would like to thank everyone for inviting me, in you particular, Andrew, everybody for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. You know, I have a lot of things I'd like to say, but I guess the first thing I need to say is about something I heard a brother mention a moment ago when he said something about something being fair. And I think he said something about McDonald's and the corporation, how they were acting. And I had to ask myself, fair in America? Really? I mean, this country was founded on a lie, but I'll get back to that in a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Yona L. Before I go on, is that your call?
Hold the horses. I believe I heard a bell. Is that Joanna?
Yes, that is
Farmer
Sister.
Cumber?
Yes, indeed, that is Sister
Or
Farmer. You with
Farmer?
us?
Yes, it is.
And Yona, please.
I will take a back seat. I yield the floor.
Thank you, sir.
You know I'm a team player.
Sister Farmer.
Sister.
Yes, greetings, everyone. It's so, I just feel so completely blessed to see this happening.
Brother Michael is a friend of mine since I came to Kansas City in 2001, and we worked together at Upward Bound, and we've stayed in touch since then, being community activists, really caring about our people, loving them to health and healing. And I'm just grateful that Brother Andrew and Brother Michael connected and immediately created the synergy that caused all of this to happen today. So I want to just briefly, because I promised to be on for about 15 minutes, talk about asset-based community development. But first I want to start off by acknowledging something that one of my uncles taught me. He's a retired social studies educator, and he taught me that there's his story, her story, their story, and our story. The question becomes, which one do we know?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, we focus on his story. We see the news, we hear the news, we're bombarded with misinformation, alternative information, fake information. And so we have to really be mindful of what story we're choosing to listen to, because what we choose to allow into our space, right, just like the food you eat, you'll become what you listen to sometimes. You become negative, bitter, etc. So what I've been focusing on in my work with asset-based community development, which is really based on looking at our strengths instead of from a deficit-based approach, which is how the research has tended to happen, where Black people are studied to death, basically. One research project after the next with the same conclusion. We're still in poverty. And so what I've been working on for most of my career is basically walking alongside Indigenous community residents. And I'm supposed to just, whatever they need, and if it's in my skill set, provide it, and if not, tap into resources to help bring it to the table, so that we are empowering people so that they can start telling their own story. And I want to talk about real briefly 5 forms of capital. We have human, we have physical, intellectual, social, and we're going to stop right there for a minute. Social capital can be one of the greatest strengths that we can use, because social capital is based on our trust and respect for each other. And when we have that sense of trust and respect, that allows us to do things like Ujima, work together, okay? So I'm going to move from there to spiritual. As quiet as it's kept, our spiritual capital, our DNA, our melanin, is one of the greatest resources ever. Everybody wants our spiritual capital. So I'll use it within the context of genealogy, which I also do. If I told you today, Brother Michael, that you're a descendant of one of the greatest Hebrew leaders in history, would you believe me?
No doubt. No doubt.
That was kind of an unfair question for you, since we know
Right.
But that kind of question is what I ask my young people that I work with, because I love the babies especially, because they're still innocent. But if I ask them the question, do you know that you're a genius? And they tell me no, my heart breaks.
So you know. No.
Yes, they will. As young as 8, 9 years old, they're starting to lose.
We didn't come from that. Go ahead.
So the root word of genealogy is what? Genius.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I work with the younger children on is starting to acknowledge and tap into that part of themselves that, for whatever reason, whether or not they're in a school where someone is calling them names. A little boy told me the other day that his teacher called him a devil and kicked him out of the classroom. So when you have children being told things like this and they have no context, no ability to fend for themselves, then I step up as a children's rights activist and do what's necessary. Fortunately, that little boy, he is a fighter. He's got the spirit of a warrior. And he also told me when I asked him, well, you know you're not a devil. And he said, I know I'm not a devil. So that right there tells me that he's resilient. He's going to be okay, but I still make sure that when he sees me, that I just ask him, how are you doing today? So that he won't be suspended, that at the end of his 3rd grade year, he will not be at risk of missing so many days that now he's in the prison industrial complex. So instead of the school to prison that we have right now, that pipeline, we need to create the school to opportunity pipeline. So that's what the 4th Industrial Revolution means to me. And in terms of asset-based community development and the work that Building Community Capacity does, we help connect people to information and resources that empower them. Information should not be hidden. Resources should not be for just the faithful few because they have access for whatever reason, born into the right family with the so-called silver spoon in your mouth. We all should have access to quality education, quality health care, good food, water, housing, clothing, the right to take some time off and rest. Our ancestors struggled. They paid the price. They were subjected to unbearable and unspeakable inhumanity. So we honor their legacy. We honor all that they've done to get us to this place. And for my part, and I thank all of you brothers and sisters that are on the phone right now on this call, I am uniting with you all because I know that we're getting right to where we need to be, and we're all going to get there together. So thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for saying that, Sister Farmer.
Thank you. And if I can piggyback a little bit off of what the sister was just talking about, because it goes back into what we were talking about, is the reason why our people do not know who they are because they are not living in their history because what they are being given is not coming from their people. So when you do act, I mean, I work with young people all the time. You can even go 21, 22-year-old young adult who asks a young lady what she want to be. She's telling me she want to pro. That's the reason why so many of our young men want to be rappers because that's all the television has given the imagery of who we are. The American broadcast has stated who they want to be what. You rarely see a black doctor. You don't hear a black doctor telling you need to get something checked out. So it becomes unrelative to you when it's the same old being that has masked themselves in caring for you. So the best thing that we can do is come together to tell our own story to our people.
Undeniably.
Well, thank you for that, brother.
Indeed. Is it back to Yona L now? Are we ready to transition back to the brother Yona L?
Yes, sir. The ball's in his court.
Thank you for being so patient, brother Yona.
All right, then. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
So, all right, so let me go ahead and crank this up a bit. My name is David Yona L. Baruch Abba Amen Ra. That means the beloved of God, bless the coming light of truth. That's who I am, the light of truth. I come in the volume of the book that is written about me. I delight to do thy will. The spirit of truth, the world cannot accept, but it's here tonight. It's here to be shared with you. Not because of me, myself, so much, but because of the connectivity that exists right now with all of those on this line. Because if you're hearing these words and they make sense to you, then you know that a divine message is coming. I'm talking about the difference between the big lie and the ultimate truth. The big lie and the ultimate truth. What am I talking about, Brother Yona L? Well, I'm talking about volunteered slavery and the illusion of freedom. Today, we have bought into the idea that we are free. It's an illusion. We are not really free. We are actually enslaved. But we have voluntarily accepted this form of slavery because it is so much nicer, so much more palatable than the old cruel form slavery where they beat us and killed us. Now we voluntarily go and work as slaves. Think about this. When we first came to this country, we didn't choose to come here, but we came here. And why? Because a certain group of people wanted to make money. They needed to make profit. And they couldn't do enough on their own. So they said, let's take from other people. Let's just take all the wealth they make, but not just all the wealth they make. Let's take the wealth that their children make, and their children and children and children make. And we'll stockpile it for ourselves. And that's the lie that this country was built upon. And today, they want to act like it didn't happen. But you and I know that not only did it happen, but it's continued to exist right today. In those days, you got up, they used to say, meet my mule Monday morning from sunrise to sunset. Today, the only difference between now and then was today you get up at sunrise, but you're getting ready to go to work. You go to your nice little job, you drive in your car, and your air-conditioned car, and you work the same type of slave you used to. All day long, your life is wrapped around doing one thing, generating enough revenue so you can go home, get some rest, and get up and come back to work the next day. But if you were free, any one of you that said, you know what, I'm not going to work this week, I'm not going to work 2 weeks, I'm not going to work for a month, I'm just going to travel and I'll be back later. And you do that, but you're not free. Because if you try to do that, you come back, your house will be shut down, your lights will be off, your phone, everything. Why is that happening? It's because a group of people, a small group of people, less than 1%, the facts are in, 85 people own more wealth than 55% of the rest of the world. How can that be a valid system? How can that somebody believe that that is a just and equitable situation, a way for people to live? There are people starving to death. And 85 people own more wealth than 55% of the rest of the world. But we embrace this system, capitalism, how great and wonderful it is. And you and I both know it's a ridiculous system. And it only exists because we accept it. Well, brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you that the time has come for that system to end, and you and I can change it. GlobalBlackFamily.com. That's our website. You send the link to me. I'll tell you what we're doing. And this is what we're doing. There's 5 steps to our mission. Number 1, we must stand up our nation. Number 2, we must declare our economic independence, establishing our own currency. Number 3, we must educate our children and we must educate ourselves. Number 4, we must take control of our communities and the businesses that serve them. And number 5, we must eliminate ignorance, disparity, poverty, crime, slavery, and, wait for it, war. Because peace is more profitable than war. Why do we engage in wars? They do it because there's a few people that make a profit of it. They make a profit of the misery of other people. And because they're getting money, people buy into it. That money, that love, that money and power is an addiction. It's a worse addiction than being addicted to drugs. When a person does drugs, they injure themselves. When a person gets addicted to money and power, it empowers them and empowers their family, but it destroys other people because they control and manipulate people, and so they know what they're doing, but they don't. Because if they knew what they were doing when they got their money, they would share with other people. And that's what I feel. I'm like, hey, I've watched this system that says it's okay to manipulate and rob and steal from another person. Get as much as you can. Look at Donald Trump in this country up there lying to the people. This is in America. The president, he was the epitome of the America. What does he do? He stands up and he lies to people's face. Lies. And everybody knows he's lying. They talk about it, but they don't do anything about it. He doesn't care about them calling him out. He's got the example of America. America lied to us time and time again. They lie to the world. They write lies and books. All the time they lie. And they don't care about you calling them out, because when you call them out, they just say, well, we're going to fix this later. We can't do it right now. They tell you another lie. They keep on going. The agenda is designed to keep you so confused that you never have time to look at reality. Well, we can change that, my brothers and sisters, by us developing our own currency, our own economy. And this is how it works. The new business model, the one that we're moving forward, says that every business that you buy from gives you a micro ownership in that business. All businesses exist for the benefit of all people, not just a few. It's ridiculous for a few people to have so much wealth that they can never spend it, while people are starving to death. What idiot thinks such a good system? Well, they won't let us take it from them because we have to go to war, destroy everything. So what we're telling is they can keep it. But what we're going to do is we are not going to continue to engage and do business with them. We're going to do business with ourselves. Next month, we got African royals coming to Atlanta to meet with us to set up international commerce. In order to do that, we have to have our own currency. So we have decided that we cannot work within the current system, because if you got your money in an American bank and the IRS or the federal government decides they want to freeze your funds, you are broke. You can't get it. So we have to set up our own economy so that whenever we want to do business, they can't stop us. We have a right to self-determination. We have a right to have our own currency. We don't have to be manipulated and owned by them. But as long as we accept it, they're going to keep doing it. Well, we got to tell them, no, we're not going to. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Every one of you, I will give you the new currency. It's going to cost you $1. $1, and I will give you 100 gold coins that allows you to trade and interact and do business within our system. And it won't cost you anything. You can trade it. All you need is a cell phone to move your money back and forth. Once we begin to use this currency, and by the way, this is a hybrid currency. This is a stepping stone. It's not the end of this job. It just takes us where we're going. So we're going to start you a gold coin. The gold coin is traded on the stock market, and it's something that we can allow you to use your worthless paper money to buy this hybrid currency. Yes, right, your paper money is worthless. You all know it. So we're going to trade that paper money in for cyber currency that we can use to transact and do business with. This is what we're negotiating with. So we can do it, because the American economy is going to crash. And when it does, if you got American money, you're going to be wasted. Our currency will be backed by silver and gold. And we use a cyber currency to certify it, just like you do with Bitcoin. Those of you know Bitcoin know when Bitcoin came out.
Right.
Today, Bitcoin's worth $1,300 and some odd dollars a Bitcoin. Well, most black people don't have $1,300 to go out and buy a Bitcoin and invest. So that's why we've got our own currency, a gold coin, which you can get for $1. And you can get 100 of them. Now, once you begin to trade and everything, that's what we have as balance, because all money is an exchange, a form of exchange of commerce, and it's worth what we say it is. We established that it allows us to transact and do business with each other. But the key element is this. All of our businesses agree that the business does not profit the individual, it profits the entire community. Mm-hmm. If it's good for one, it's good for everybody. If it's not good for everybody, it's not good for anybody.
Amen.
How can one person be happy when everybody else is sad? That's a crazy system. That's right. We have governments talking to each other, arguing and fussing and fighting about wars, about things that we don't even know what it is.
Right.
They keep it in secret. What are they fighting? Why are we fighting with Afghanistan? Why are we fighting Iraq? Those people, I don't know them. I've never seen them. Travel all over this country. All over this country. Here's where the war is. This is where they're shooting our brothers down in the street. For what? For owing back taxes. Shoot them down because the man didn't pay his child support. Shoot him down because he had a broken tail light. Because the man tried to sell some CDs on the corner. Because the child's out playing with a toy gun. Because the man's in Walmart talking on his phone. We know it over and over and over again. We've seen it. And as long as we accept it, it'll continue to happen. We must get out of this mindset that we can keep on working the system, it's going to work. No. We actually have to stand up and say we have to have our own. why Sister Alicia has put together, Alicia Hamilton, with this UCI TV is so important. It allows us to transact information, interact with each other all over the world. We've never had the ability to do what we can do now with the technology we have. This technology allows me to talk to brothers and sisters all over the world, talk to brothers all over the sisters in this country, so we can organize and do things right now. We don't have to wait to send a message. Right now on the phone, everybody can talk to everybody else, and in 24 hours, everybody knows what we're saying. Here's the key. You must get to understand that everybody has to get on board with this mindset. We have to do it, and we can't wait. We got to do it right now. Everybody has to pledge $1 for everybody else. All the money goes into a pot that everybody owns. I don't care who controls the money. Anybody can control it. But we all have to do it. Just say $1. It allows us to set up our currency. And overnight, we can change the world. Now, 47,055,000, if you know the number used, descendants of African slaves in America. $1.2 trillion in revenue. That makes us the 9th largest nation in the world. Why the hell aren't we at those G20 summits? It's because we're not organized. Well, we can organize like this. In 30 days, we can actually get together because we all know what's right. We don't have to sit here and argue about pettiness and stupidness. We just got to cut to the chase. And here's a simple fact. Here is the natural law that all of us must follow. You can do anything you want to do as long as you do not hurt, harm, or injure another human being. Now, that means that I can't tell you what to do, and you can't tell me what to do. But it's my job to conduct myself the way that I see fit, and you need to do the same thing. I can't hurt you or injure you. That is, the war's over with. I don't care what you believe, what you want to do. The problem solved. You see, I believe in a utopian society. I really do. And I know most of the people I know don't believe a utopian society is possible. But here's what I tell all those people. I said, let me tell you this. If you don't believe utopian society is possible, do you believe that there's a better world than the one we live in right now? Do you think the world could be a little better? Because if you think the world could be a little better than it is right now, then I'll go with you to that little bitty better world than where we are right now. And then when we get there, I'll say goodbye, and I'll keep going towards my utopian society. And maybe at that point you'll say, hey, that utopian society is not such a bad idea. I'm going to keep on going with you a little further, Brother Jonah. But we have to get it in our minds that it's possible. And here's the key. When we work together, when we interact together, we have to understand that everybody has to benefit. It has to be mutual benefit. I mean, one person may benefit a little bit more than the other person, but you can't benefit a whole lot more while the other person doesn't benefit, unless, of course, you put more into it. But even that has to be regulated so nobody gets too much power or authority in any given situation. We're talking about a simple thing right here. We got our brothers and sisters in prison. When they come out, they don't have a place to stay. They can't get a job. They have no choice to go back to prison because they won't get me a food stamp. They won't do anything. So here's what we do with that $1 we talked about a minute ago. We go out and we can buy us old dilapidated apartment complex. I have the construction people that will come there and they will actually look at the system and actually teach these brothers and sisters coming out of prison how to renovate those apartment complexes. Now they won't own it at that point. They can stick there. Once you fix it up, you've got a place to stay for life. And when the other people look at the place and say, hey, this is where the brothers and sisters live, they go in there because we're there as family. And these brothers and sisters come out of that are living there, knowing that nobody can ever take them home, they will protect it with their lives. And if you live there, they're going to protect your home with their lives because they know this is their home. These people protected us. These are brothers and sisters. You don't have to worry about them turning on you. The only reason you ever have crime is because people are hungry. They have no clothes to wear. Well, our system, we're going to provide for them. We're going to have natural food. We got all of the black farmers ready to transport the food produce there to our community. We're going to teach our brothers and sisters the job. After they learn how to prepare their own apartments, they can stay there and maintain it for other people. We also build these other apartments. All of our people living there. on the premises. We put our own daycare centers, there. Where we educate our children. Now, brother, this is just this is the concept we're working from. It's really simple. All we have to do is just get it in our minds and go ahead and do it. Everything is already in place. And I guarantee you that every single night for the next 30 days, I'm going to be talking about this for an hour. Every night, and I want everybody to go, everybody else you know, to get on the line and talk to your brothers and sisters and talk about how we can do this. Bring your 1, your 2, your 10 people, whatever can happen. Everybody gets to get on this. Your voice is important. This is not just your own air, but everybody gets to say everything we're going to do. Now, I know where the properties are here in Atlanta. You can identify the properties wherever you are. There's money available right now, and I know how to get it, but we've got to have a system in place to get it. So we'll take that money that's available in this current system, we'll invest it in these properties, put our brothers and sisters, take them out of the prison, and give them a home. That's where we begin. That's where we have to begin. We've got to take care of our brothers and sisters coming out of the prison, and we've got to take care of our brothers and sisters who are our veterans, because our black veterans, between those and the brothers in the prison that have been abused by the system, they know when they're home and we're protecting them, and they're going to take care, they're going to do the right thing. So nobody wants to go back to prison. You and I both know that. They only go back because they have no choice. So we're going to give them a choice. And we also want to educate our children. We're not going to teach them that BS that they teach. We're going to teach them the true history. Every single bit of it. Now, the school that we've modeled is called a multilingual STEAM Academy. Our children learn English, Spanish, Mandarin, Chinese, Swahili, and French. 5 languages. My granddaughter's 4 years old. She speaks 4 of them. Now she's learning the 5th. All of our children need to learn multiple languages so they can talk to people all over the world. We also have technology where they can teach them with a tablet, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, and science. That's it. Also, to educate our children. Now, here's another thing. We're not trying to tell our children who they are and what they need to be. We want to open our children up and look at them and get invested and involved with them and find out what their natural inclination is. And whatever the natural talent is, we want to support that, encourage and develop that child to grow and develop with that perspective. We'll give them the other support they need, but let them grow and be who they're meant to be. Don't teach these kids something and stick them somewhere where they don't need to be known. I want to make them look out. That's who I am. For 50 years, I've been working to bring our people together. People call me Buck, BUC, Black Unity Coordinator. I go to all these different businesses, all these different black businesses, all these different black organizations. Say, hey, y'all need to join together. Forget that individuality stuff. We all work together, and we can solve our problems. Nobody's got to be on the top. Nobody's got to be on the bottom. All we got to do is come together. This is a big jigsaw puzzle. Nobody's got all of the pieces, but each one of us has a piece of the puzzle. Let's get together, and we can solve the problem. And I don't want to hear anybody talking about all the complications. Deal with the complications when we get there. Right now, let's deal with what we have. Work with what we got in front of us. Once we get all the rubble cleared out, we get everything built we can build, then we can look at the other complications, problems along the way. We don't have to have our plan completely wrapped and mapped out right now. All we got to do is get busy. I'm tired of the conversations, the talking, nobody's doing anything, get nowhere. So I'm going to tell you this one more time, and I'm going to go ahead and take any questions or whatever you before. If everybody is on this line, if you know me, I've talked about this for years. I've been on the phone talking, and I tell people we have to deal with this issue of money. The money in this country is manipulated in such a way to keep us impoverished. We think like this. We think about money in a way that is not toward us. We think about money in this way. Get your money and save it. Your money grows like this. 1, add 1, you got 2. Add 1, you got 3, 4. That's called arithmetic progression. Keep adding 1. After you've been doing that for 6 months, you end up with 1 more than you start off. You end up with 7. When we invest in our own community, it grows at something called a geometric progression. When we invest back in our own community, this is the same way it happened back in the day when we had Black Wall Street. We worked in the communities. We took the money out of the white community, but we invested in our own community. We grew, and we did fantastic well. Today it'll be so much better because we got the ability to be better organized. We have the ability to interact with our brothers and sisters on the African continent where the exchange rate is 17 to 1. Can you imagine going someplace where you go in with $1,000 and it's like going there with 17,000? That's the way we can transact with our brothers and sisters on the African continent. We can pay them to do jobs and things that they can manufacture, and we can then import that to ourselves, and we can buy these products for far less than corporate America selling it to us. Corporate America is ripping us off. We're slaves to them. As long as they keep selling us these higher-priced products, we'll always be broke. But once we start manufacturing our own products, improving the condition of our brothers and sisters on the African continent, and letting them ship the products to us over here that we can buy from ourselves so we invest in them, then our money grows by geometric progression. And this is the way that money counts. You add one, you add one to it, you got two. And after that, the two doubles. So if you have two, you got four. And then from four, you go to 8. 8 goes to 16. 16 goes to 32. 32 goes to 64. In the same way, when you do arithmetic progression, it takes you to get to 7. The same as the time, you go to 64 by simply using geometric progression or properly investing the money in your own community. Now, it grows even faster than that. I'll show you later, but right now, it's too complicated. I'll get all the cheapest stuff. So by us working together in this way, we have the ability to change our communities virtually overnight. All we have to do is simply have to plan. And it's ready right now. Now, here in there's a brother named Ambassador Harvey. I will say this number. Ambassador Harvey actually has the deed to all of the property in America from North Carolina all the way down to Florida, all the way west to Sacramento, California, going up through St. Louis up into, I think it's North Dakota, all the way to Canada. He has the deed to all of that land, really. And this company, this corporate facade that has been existing and masquerading as a government is living on our land. Now, there's a way for us to go ahead and resolve this problem, but we have the legal framework, we have the legal standing to do everything I'm talking about doing. All it takes is for us to work together and accept the fact that only we can save ourselves. This government, nobody's going to do it. They've lied to us. They continue to lie to us. They're going to keep lying to us. We see Donald Trump doing it right now. He's lying to the people, everybody.
Right.
So I'm ready to make this change.
Indeed.
Again, I will be, you'll find me on globalblackfamily.com. I'm going to be on Alicia Hamilton's channel. We're going to be broadcasting regularly on there to keep you informed of how we interact and exchange with everybody. And by the way, everybody I know all over the world is going to be on this network. So you can interact and engage with any of these people. You don't have to come to Yonael for this. All of their contacts, all of them will be available on this network. So you can talk to anybody on any continent, any country, any city, or wherever that I know. You can talk to any of those people about whatever you need to engage, to do whatever business resource you want. And all of this must be open and above board so everybody knows what's going on, so nobody's getting sent to the curb. Everybody has to benefit. This is about the community. We all must come up together.
Indeed. Thank you for that, Brother Yonael. This has been a dynamic show for this evening with so much information to process. Is there a centralized link where most of the stuff that has been shared this evening can be accessed? Ambassador Williams, do you know of any hub where this can actually be accessed? Is there a email blast that's sent out with this information? How can someone get more information about these developments?
Well, several ways. One, anyone can contact me at aj@ucit.tv. That's one way. Of course, our main station, Lady Alicia Hamilton, is here. And you can always go to ucmedia.net, but I would be the point of contact for this group because you asked me to pull together a team, and this is the team.
Wonderful. This is powerful. So let me ask this question, and I do invite callers. We got about 10 minutes left on the show. If there are any callers who are listening and want to call in, You can call in at 701-801-1211, and you can type in the PIN 1040, or you can use a 760-976-533. But I do want to ask this question because the tradition and the school of thought that I'm from, we deal with the idea of repatriation. How does that prefigure into the Kwanzaa Accord 2020 as well as the Sankofa Renaissance 2063? Is repatriation something that is a viable liberation tool for our people in this particular paradigm?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Sister Joanna Farmer actually brought that solution to our group. We have here in Los Angeles, we meet every month on the first Thursday of each month at Los Angeles Trade Technical College in the Architectural Design and Technology Department, where Lady Alicia, myself, others, I think Jonah L. he visited there when he came. It's a community advisory group. But what we've done here on the social media is on Facebook is create. By the way, that website is encounterla.com. ENCOUNTERLA.com.
Right.
But here on Facebook, we have, in fact, there are about 200 different organizations that are listed there. These are nonprofits, small businesses, individuals. But online, since December of 2015, I've been building a group online on Facebook on the groups. And it's the Encounter Think Tank, and that's very simple, fb.com/groups/Encounter Think Tank. And just last week, Sister Joanna brought this brother to the group. And Sister Joanna, if you're still here, I hope you pronounce his name correctly. I think it's Bomani. But Brother Kibi Awadu actually introduced this brother. He's been going back. Yes, he's been going back and forth to Africa for, I think he said since like 2001, 2002, maybe 2003, 2004. But one of the guests on the show actually has a property in Ghana where they are welcoming people back for the repatriation. They're having tours that actually go to Africa. They have 4 tours scheduled for this year. The next one will be happening in May, and then one in November. And the idea is for anyone interested to actually go. And what they recommend, however, is, as was said earlier, when you go, take the largest denominations of bills that you can, because the $1, $5, $10, $20, $50, they're not given us the same currency exchange as the larger bills, $100 and up. So the short answer to your question is there are people that are actually doing this on a small scale way. And through UCIT.tv, we will be able now to begin to showcase them, because as we build out the 24/7 platform, we will be able to bring all these people into one place at one time. And I'll yield the floor. I believe Brother Yona might have been had some also additional input on that information.
Yes. So as you're saying, Ghana has put it up there now. Also on May the 25th, Africa Day, we're going to be going to Kenya to meet with the elders there. Kenya, we've been talking to Kenya about some things. There's several African countries that are willing to engage us from the perspective of opening up dual citizenship. And again, when I was telling you about these different royals that come here, one of the things we have to understand, I think this is very important, there's a game changer being afoot. Remember what Donald Trump is doing right now. You heard what they were saying about what happened, the way they put that chill on members in the African countries, from these different countries that fell down. So these countries know that based on that, there's a problem from them, some of them getting to America. But we're already here. So by them giving us dual citizenship, it opens up some doors for them, as well as many of them that are willing to accept the fact. And by the way, there's tons of land over there as well. Land all over the place available for us to go over there and work. So all of these things are on the table. And it's just like, Malcolm said, by any means necessary. We also have to look at, like the scripture says, this you ought to have done and not left the other undone. Mm-hmm. So we have to look at all these options, these viable options are things we need to do for our liberation, and understand that it's not necessary for us to get tunnel vision and say this is the only way. And that bothers me a lot of times about people talk. They think there's only one way. There's a lot of different ways for us to get things done. And so we have to get everybody involved so everybody can do whatever aspect of what they do. So we as a people, can accomplish our goals.
Yes.
You know, when you look at the way this government, any government exists, they don't exist in a vacuum with only doing one narrow road.
Mm-hmm.
They've got their fingers all over the place. So they're in all kinds of things. So we have to have those kind of international connections. And for those who want to repatriate to Africa and go back and never come back to America again, that's possible. You can do it. It's not a problem. Those who want to be able to go and come back and forth, we got ways to deal with that. And for those people who feel like, hey, I'm an American, I ain't going nowhere, that's also viable. All three of those options are part of the network that we have to build. Mm-hmm. We don't get to say, hey, this is the only way for us to be a people and to get our freedom. All of these are available to us, and all of them we should benefit from.
Indeed, indeed. I want to ask this question as well. I know our time is limited.
I will say that at andrewwilliamsjr.ucit.tv will be the platform where anyone here and everyone else can come to continue this conversation. As I mentioned to you when we began, this is a conversation with Andrew Williams Jr. And so UCIT.tv is our home. It's free to join. You can join, but just select channel number 605 for your primary channel. And that's andrewwilliamsjr.ucit.tv. I'll yield the floor.
Now, I just wanted to put one last thing on here. Like I was telling you earlier, this thing's always about money, and there's money available for us to gather and work together by working as a team. Well, if you got 1,000 people and everybody's got $100, that's $100,000. You can do a lot with $100,000, but you can't do with 100. 1,000 people can't do anything with that 100. But those are the kind of things that we've got in place right now to help people to do with investments, so that you're part of a group that actually takes control of something. So we start building, developing, not in the future, but right now, here and on the African continent. Now you go before.
Awesome.
And by the way, Andrew, thank you so much. Anybody, you ever need to get hold of somebody, Andrew is the man, because he will put you in touch with everybody. He'll keep you up to speed on what's going on.
Indeed, indeed. This has been so dynamic. I want to thank each and every one of the participants for contributing to this particular podcast. It has been very informative. I hope that my listeners are truly going to be informed about the developments. With the African Union, I do want to ask this question before we go, Ambassador Andrew. Just last question: is there a way that they have been able to support this effort in any way, shape, form, or fashion, or are they monitoring it? What is their dynamic in Roosevelt?
Okay, well, here in the first place, you have again, situational awareness is so very important. Charles B. Sharp, he's the CEO of Black Emergency Managers Association. Black Emergency Managers Association. He was born and raised in Washington, D.C. He lives there all his life. Mm-hmm. He's our point of contact with the African Union's representative in Washington, D.C. However, I'm afraid time does not allow me to go into the next 30 seconds. I have no way to answer that completely. However, you have to keep in mind that it was in 2007, even though the African Union was founded in 2002, it was in 2007 when the EU set up a group of countries. They're called, the Caribbean African Pacific group of countries. And so the EU basically has been underwriting the budget of the AU for at least 10 years. Wow. So you have to keep in mind that in the first place, no, the African Union is not making any monies available for us to do anything. And secondarily, unfortunately, it's up to us to do what we need to get done. And as Yona L. says, we have to recognize, too, that there are, in fact, 55 countries, but there are over 197 different tribes, and over 2,000 languages are spoken. I believe Yona L. is bringing over a contingent of, or at least he's facilitating the arrival in Washington, D.C., as I understand it, kings and queens and people that represent the people on the ground. So the short answer is that it's not
I think that our efforts, that we continue to move in this direction. I thank you for your time, Ambassador Williams. And we'll definitely continue to move forward and link together and see how we can unite our efforts to make this a more of a reality, because I'm Pan-African in the core. Repatriation is on my radar, and I want my listeners to know that this is also something available to you, given your efforts as well. So once again, thank each and every one of you all for tuning in to Hebrew Vision on the podcast, and for those who contributed, thank you as well. May the Most High bless and keep each and every one of you all, man. Thank you again.
Thank you. Well, one final note on my part is area code 424-222-1997. If it rings, I'll answer it. That's all I can promise.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and take our show out. I want to thank you all again for tuning in. This has been Kwanzaa Accords 2020 and the Sankofa Renaissance 2063 in the Fourth Industrial Revolution with Ambassador Andrew Williams. Tune in next week. We're going to have a brother from the New Era Detroit movement on. His name is Keith Horton. He will be talking about what's going on with the New Era Detroit movement. So tune in for that, as I'm taking us out the same way that we did come in. Tune in next week, same time. Peace and blessings.